Hello, my name is David Lumberman, and today we're going to go through the user experience of the Disney website. When I first get to the Disney website, you can see that there's lots of visual stimulation for little ones to come to this page. This is designed so that you see large images, lots of white space, big clickable areas. Now that's good, especially for the type of user that we're looking at, which is young kids. And one of the things that Disney does very nicely is when I hover over items, the items change. Now this is important because it shows the user that items are actually clickable. So some sites that like CNN will put a little play button over items, things like that. But in this case, Disney does a nice little effect that it makes it a little bit larger. And when I click on it, I would go to the actual video. Now what you might not see apparent as you're looking at this is the very specific in terms of what they're trying to do here. Not only do you get that hover effect, but you have your title, which is nice and short, and in this case you have a subtitle telling you specifically what you're going to get when you get there. But what you also have is how long this particular video is. And then you have content information below it. So there's a lot of things going on right in this one little space here. So it's a very good use of space. Now this top area that we're seeing here, anything in the live area, is known as information that's above the scroll. Now when they call something above the scroll, what they're really talking about is they're talking about this line on the bottom here, that it's content that you see initially when you first get to the site, that you don't have to scroll below to see. When you're looking at site statistics, most often what you see is things that are large and colorful get the most attention visually on the screen, as we see with this Hulk and all of these little items down below. And this nice little advertising banner ad that we see over here. But when I start to scroll down, see there's a lot more information that's available, a lot more content that's available for the user to click on. Now all of this great content is going to get a much lower click-through rate. Now the click-through rate is the rate at which people will actually click on an item and go and view that content. Now this is something new that you see down on the bottom. In recent years it's called a fat footer. A lot of sites are adding information at the bottom of all of their pages. Fat footers have done very well over the years of leading the user. It also allows search engines to search on this type of information, these keywords such as Disney movie rewards. So if somebody typed that into a search engine, because this is present on all the pages here, more than likely would take them to this site here. Now in this case, Disney does something very interesting. They don't use something called hovers. Hovers are when you hover over an item and it changes. You'll see that on a lot of sites. In this case, Disney's requiring you to actually click. But when you do click, you do get a large menu that has a lot more of the Disney offerings on it. Now, one of the things that Disney doesn't do right here is it doesn't give you a way to close this menu. So you have to make the assumption or take the leap of saying, okay, if I click on anywhere outside of this menu, it's going to close. That's something known as the gulf of execution. The gulf of execution is the gap between information that you know and information that you don't know. That's why it's a gulf. So right now I know how to open the menu and I'm seeing it and I don't know how to close the menu. So usually the way somebody would get past that gulf of execution is having something like a little close bar. Very much like the Windows close bar here, you know what happens when you click on it. But being that there is no specific widget for somebody to click on, they have to take a leap and say, okay, how do I get out of here other than clicking on an item? Thank you for taking the time to review this video. If you'd like to see other videos on the same topic, please check out our YouTube site. And if you'd like me to review your website, just visit me at lumberman.com/user experiences or shoot me an email at dave@lumberman.com.